everyone, and welcome to Baron's Den for another Blood Bowl Season 3 roster change video. Today we're going to look at the Goblins and see how they've been changed, whether they've got better, whether they've got worse, or whether they're about as good as they were in the last edition. In the last edition, Goblins were just a bit rubbish, if I'm honest. The thing is, traditionally, the stunted teams were always supposed to be a bit rubbish. But there's some stunted teams, Snotlings, that were given that many different tools to help them out that they find themselves occasionally creeping into that tier 2 bracket. Goblins weren't one of those, no. And if anything, throughout the FAQs and rules tweaks throughout Blood Bowl 2020, Goblins just were hurt more and more each time. Whether that was changes to throw teammate, change to bombing, changes to fouling assists, just so many different things just made Goblins harder and harder. They weren't completely useless though. I've known them win tournaments. It's the wonderful thing about Blood Bowl, any team can win, but it kind of feel like they started at a disadvantage, more so than a lot of other teams. So it's going to be nice to see if things got better for the little fellas. Let's crack on. Right, Goblin linemen. Yeah, pretty much as they were. Movement 6, strength 2, agility 3+, passing 4+, armor 8+, nice cost of 40,000. Dodge right stuff, stunty, all looks good and familiar. However, they have that all-important D on their primary access, which is the Devious skill tree, which I'm actually going to go through with you later, just so you know what sort of skills are going to be on there if you haven't seen already. And I think for Goblins in particular, it's going to be really useful to have fouling players, to have players who can get extra SPP for doing some of their violent actions, ones who can basically piece together the old sneaky git where you can run off once you've done a foul. There's just lots of little things that are going to help them with their fouling game, which is important to a Goblin team. So that's a good change. That's definitely a positive one. Okay, on to the bomber now. So obviously only 0 to 1 of the bombers. It's movement 6, strength 2, edge 3+, passing 4+. It's no better at passing than it was. It's certainly not as good as Bomber Dribble Snot, who is a 3+ passer with accurate. His armor's 8+. His cost is still 45k. However, with what's his face going up to Bomber Dribble Snot going up to 80k now. At least it's not automatic just to pick Bomber Dribble Snot over him, because he was only 5k more. But what's really interesting about this player now is this. So first of all, it's got Devious access, which isn't as important as it is on other players, but I think there is one, again, that involves star player points for special actions. Violent Innovator, which could work well with the bomber, I think. Don't quote me on it yet until I've gotten more familiar with the new rules, but I think that that's going to work. But more importantly, the passing's moved from secondary to primary now. So things like accurate and what else would be good for a bomber? I've said that now, and I can't think of another skill that would be really useful, because you know you're not going to be cannoneering that. Hail Mary pass, well, it would be nice. Pass, obviously. I think you can utilise pass with throwing a bomb. So there's a couple of skills that make it really useful. Agility, unfortunately, though, has moved to secondary, but he already has dodge, and that's the main thing you need for the bomber. I don't think there's much else that from the agility tree that you'd be particularly missing. So that's the bomber. The loony, I love the loony. He actually has taken a bit of a hit now because he's no longer getting agility skills on primary. So getting dodge on him is going to be a lot more expensive, and he's going to want dodge. And a lot of players would draw on and put block on him as well. So that's going to be 2 elite skills, 2 secondary. So what's that? Going to be 100k to add those 2 skills on? It might be something that you don't bother with now, and you just go fully into those devious skills in trying to make him a expert fouling machine, or just it goes in, chainsaws as many people as he can before he gets wiped out. He's also got no ball, which makes sense because he's too busy chainsawing people. That might mean it's harder for him to level up because you can't put the ball on him, but I don't know how many people were doing that anyway. I obviously I don't think I've ever run Goblins in League for long, so I've never felt the need to try and get too many star player points onto the chainsaw, so Goblin coaches will know better than me, but I don't believe they could do it. I do believe this is a new skill, so they potentially could have done it before, but We shall see. Right, on to the next one, the Goblin Ooligan. This was already one of my favourite players on the team, and look at him go now. He's typical Goblin stat line, but he's better at passing than he used to be. Again, it's probably not going to matter, but it's nice that it's been improved. He's 60k, so he's actually cheaper by 5k than he was. He's got devious access, so picking up dirty play is going to be really easy for him now. Plus a number of the other skills, such as put the boot in, or is it? There's a couple of devious skills actually that can really help with the fouling game. He's lost passing access. Well, big whoop. I don't see how that's going to really affect too much. And he's got taunt as well, which could be useful in dragging people away from where they want to be. Not as useful as it is on the Black Orcs, because obviously you don't necessarily want your hooligan to be in base contact with somebody. But that's going to be one that we'll have to play around with, play games with, to see actually is it useful, or is it, because you don't have to taunt them. It's an option, isn't it? But it might be a good option now and then. So yeah, I think the hooligan has definitely improved. We've got the Doom Diver now on here. Doesn't look like it's improved much. Same stat line, same skills, same cost, same access pretty much. It's got Devious added to secondary, but it's not like the Devious skill is going to be that useful for this Doom Diver. What makes this guy so much better is the stuff that isn't on his stat line. That is improvements to swoop, meaning now that you can, I think, D6 in the direction that you want, +1 to land. So he's going to be a potential one-turn touchdown scoring machine. And on top of that, all thrown players have got a bit of a benefit with the missile, not the missile, the, what's it called? The superb throw, one where they don't scatter. Oh, what's it called? Bullseye. Now, I don't know, I haven't read it through properly since I initially saw it, but if you didn't want to swoop and you were thrown and it was a bullseye, does that mean you could just land in the square you want to? I don't know, but certainly there's a lot of improvements made to throw teammate, and the Doom Diver will be definitely one of the players that benefits from that. I always used to run a Doom Diver anyway because they were funny, but other people would never use them because they just were no good apparently. I think they'll see more use now, which is really good. The Goblin Fanatic, a staple again of Goblin teams. Often see Fanatics whirling their balls and chains against me. And yeah, the same as before. Still ball and chain, still strength 7, still only movement 3. It's got those devious skills though, so again, I don't think it would count as a special action because it's technically blocking, isn't it? So I don't know if it can benefit from the extra SPP. So maybe those devious skills won't necessarily be that useful, but nevertheless, it's another skill tree that they've got on primary other than their strength. So there's definitely nothing that's got worse about him. The pogoer, again, slight improvement on passing. It's got secondary access to Devious, and it's lost its secondary passing access. None of that really matters. It's still as good as it used to be, is what it is in a nutshell. You're not taking a lot from the passing tree anyway. You doubt you'll take much from the Devious, as it's a secondary skill, and you're not looking to pass with this guy. So it's not like it's got any significant improvement, but it certainly hasn't got worse. And then the Goblin Trained Troll, which here looks like it's exactly the same, but the big one is it no longer has Loner, and that should say Loner 3+, shouldn't it? Because Trained Troll was Loner 3+. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't have it anymore. It doesn't have any Loner, so he's a lot more reliable. Not 100% reliable because he doesn't have blocks, so his blocks are still a bit iffy, and he's still going to be stupid if he doesn't have a friend next to him, or if you roll a 1. So when we say he's reliable now, that's not true at all, is it? He's less unreliable, because at least you can utilise rerolls with him now, which is really, really good. And I think the Goblins will really benefit from that, and you can't run a Goblin team without trolls anyway, so it's good that that loan has gone, because it might be that you're trying to re-roll the block, the really stupid, the always hungry, the throw. Do you know what I mean? There's so many rolls a troll's going to make in a Goblin team. It's nice now that you don't have to worry about that loner at all, and that's a real boost to them. So, additional rules, they're 60k rerolls, which is what they were before, I think. They still have an apothecary. Now, apparently, they're either Underworld Challenge or Badlands Brawl, which in the old edition, I'm pretty sure they had both. So I think, does that mean when you create the team, you've got to choose one or the other? Of again, I'm not too sure about that. That's how it looked in the leak, but in the rules it might say that that perhaps should be a comma rather than or it might be that you choose one or the other. So Underworld Challenge, for example, would allow you access to Hackflem, whereas Badlands Brawl would allow you access to Varag, but you couldn't induce them both because they come from. You'd have to choose which one you were following, which is interesting and potentially useful. You can then lean into whichever sort of star players would be benefiting you more. Still don't know what any think about the tiers. Right, the Devious skills. Let's quickly go through these because these are going to be important to all of the stunted teams, I think. Well, certainly the Snotlings and the Goblins anyway. Right, so Dirty Player, we know what that does. I'm assuming it stayed the same. +1 to the armour or the injury roll when fouling. Eye Gouge is the one where if you push the opposition player back, you take away there as an option for an assist, defensive or offensive, until they're next activated, which is pretty good. Probably not as good for Goblins because they're not looking to get involved in the fight. If they are involved in the fight, they're probably being outstrengthed regardless of assists. So Eye Gouge isn't going to be very important for them. Fumblerooski means you can put the ball out on the floor and allow somebody else to go and pick it up. Again, not really going to be useful for the Goblins. Lethal Flight, I think, is where you can basically Mighty Blow if you hit somebody with a thrown player, which is awesome. Lone Fowler is you can re-roll the I don't know if it's the armour or the injury roll, or I can't remember which one it is, but it's something to do with re-rolling the dice when you're fouling, if you're fouling on your own, if you're a lone fowler. Which again, if you throw that on a goblin, that's not too bad, is it? Particularly if you're fighting up against low armour teams, because you can give it a go at fouling without an assist, and it gives you 2 opportunities then. Pile Driver, we know from the last edition. I don't know if it's changed or not. Put the boot in. Now, these are where I'm not so sure. I think put the boot in is you can assist an foul, an offensive foul, even if you're being marked. I think that's what put the boot in is, basically. Quick foul is like the old half of Sneaky Git that you can foul and then continue your movement. Saboteur is to do with the secret weapons, and I find this one a bit of a mouthful to read and to fully understand. But from what I think is, basically, if somebody attacks you and knocks you down, you can make your secret weapon go off and potentially hurt them, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Don't take that as a guarantee. Shadowing, we know, and it's on a 4+ now, so it has improved for teams like Goblins that were fairly slow anyway. Sneaky Git is unfortunately been nerfed, so it is now you are only protected from being sent off if you don't break through the armour. So if you roll a double on the armour and then you injure the player, you'll get sent off. Or, there'll be an opportunity for you to get sent off anyway. And finally, Violent Innovator is the way you think you can get star player points for causing casualties through the use of your special actions, which I'm assuming would include the bomb and the chainsaw and the stab. So yeah, so some good Devious skills there, and I think they're gonna help the Goblins and the Snotlings in particular, as they've got nice, easy, quick access to them. Yeah, so I thought that would be worthwhile having a quick look at. So, pros and cons of Goblins. Let's start with the cons. So, the chainsaw lost primary agility, access, and has no ball, which that is annoying because it means that dodge is hard for this player now. But the no ball thing, I don't think is a major issue. That just may have been helpful for developing the player. The ooligan and the pogoer lost passing access. I don't think that's a big deal. There's no randoming secondaries anymore, so something that I thought was always good for stunties was to random general skills to see if you could get something good at a lower cost. But now, with randoms not being any cheaper, and the fact that you cannot random secondaries at all, that's now not an option for them, so that hurts them a bit. But there's plenty to be happy about because you've got primary access to Devious skills, which suits Goblins and the way they play. Throwing players is more reliable and violent now. Swoop's been buffed, improving the Doom Diver. Trained Troll no longer he has Loner. He's not a lonely troll anymore. He's a team player. And skills like Violent Innovator will also help with progression. So I think it's quite clear that there's more pros than cons with the Goblin team. So I do think they have improved in this edition. Now, like I've said before, just because I'm saying I think they've improved doesn't mean out of this lot I think they're second best. No, no, no. Amazons are still way better than Goblins. Orcs I think are better than Goblins. Norse are better than Goblins, and I think Skaven are better than Goblins. It's just that from where they were, I think they've gone up. Whereas these, I think, are more or less where they were before. And obviously, yes. My golden up for there. I am actually looking at this now thinking I probably should drag them to here because I do think they've gotten better in this edition, but they were already quite good. So to say that they've got much, much better is a bit of a statement, isn't it? So yeah, that's where we are with the winners and losers. How many teams are we in now? Is that 2, 4, 6, 8 teams in? There's almost 30 to do. And so far, I'm only saying that I think 2 teams are worse off from where they were. But only 2 teams have gotten better from where they were as well. So I'm obviously sitting on the fence with a lot of this, aren't I? Right, okay, that's it for Goblins. I hope you enjoyed that. I think there's a lot to be happy about for Goblin coaches. Let's hope that Games Workshop doesn't start nerfing the Goblin team again through the FAQs. Because that would be a shame. It's nice for them that they've seen an improvement. And this isn't the case for all stunted teams. I'm a bit worried about the halflings this season, and I'm not sure about the ogres as well. So we'll have to see whether how the other stunted teams get on. But it's nice that we've got an improvement to probably the one that underperformed the most in the last season of Blood Bowl. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I don't know what we'll be doing next. Maybe Elven Union, but after the Skaven one, I think I might leave some of the controversial ones till later. So I'll have a think about what we're doing next. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much. Bye for now.